The stars shone brightly against the vast darkness of space as the Zalaxian warship approached the edge of the Sol system. Admiral Carrick stood on the command bridge, his 4 eyes fixed on the holographic display showing a small blue planet. His scaled skin gleamed under the soft purple lights of the bridge as he considered his next conquest. "Magnify Sector 3, he ordered, his deep voice echoing across the silent bridge. The image zoomed in, revealing the 3rd planet from the star. Earth, a world rich with resources, water, and a species that had barely reached their own moon. Perfect for conquest. "Admiral, I have completed the preliminary scans," said Science Officer Vren, approaching with a data tablet. The slender alien skin was lighter than Carrick's, marking her lower rank in their species. "Something is unusual about this world." Carrick's turned. "Explain." "According to our galactic records, no empire has ever attempted to conquer this planet. There are warning markers in ancient databases, but the specific details were lost thousands of years ago." Vren's inner eyelids blinked nervously. "It seems deliberately erased." The Admiral laughed, a harsh sound that made junior officers flinch at their stations. "Superstition. Perhaps the humans have strong allies we do not yet see, or perhaps the world was simply overlooked." He waved a dismissive hand. "Prepare the fleet. We begin our approach in one standard cycle." As Vren left to carry out her orders, Carrick studied the planet again. 500 warships carrying the Empire's finest warriors waited for his command. Earth would be theirs soon. Dr. Olivia Grant stifled a yawn as she checked the readings on her deep space monitoring array. The underground facility in Colorado was quiet at 3 a.m., with only a skeleton crew manning the stations. As director of Project Guardian, she had spent 15 years watching the stars for exactly what she now saw on her screen. "Sam," she called to her assistant, who was dozing in a chair nearby. "Sam, wake up." Sam Howard jolted awake, nearly spilling his cold coffee. What is it?" Olivia pointed to the screen. Multiple objects decelerating near Saturn, formation pattern consistent with a military fleet. Sam was instantly alert, sleep forgotten. "Are we sure? Could it be a sensor malfunction?" 3. Separate systems are confirming it. This is real." Olivia reached for the secure phone on her desk. "Get me Director Summers. Then call General Clark. Tell him it's happening." Sam paled but nodded, reaching for his own phone. They had trained for this moment for years, but facing the reality of it sent a chill down his spine. Within 30 minutes, the planetary defense protocol was quietly activated across the globe. In secret bunkers under mountains beneath ocean floors, and hidden within ordinary military bases, systems that officially did not exist powered up. General Daniel Clark entered the Nevada Command Center with quick, purposeful strides. At 62, he had spent half his life preparing for this day. The bunker, buried beneath the desert, hummed with activity as technicians brought ancient systems online. "Status report," he demanded as he reached the central command table. A young officer, Major Diane Foster, straightened. "All Guardian sites report green status, sir. The visitors have crossed Saturn's orbit and continued to decelerate. Estimated arrival time in Earth orbit 7 days." "And our friends upstairs?" Clark asked, referring to the International Space Station. "They've been quietly evacuated, sir. The cover story about a coolant leak is holding." Clark nodded and looked at the massive screen showing Earth with dozens of blinking points of light, each representing a Guardian facility. "So it's finally happening," he said quietly. "Let's hope Project Guardian works as designed." Major Foster hesitated before asking, "Sir, should we inform the public?" Clark shook his head. "Not yet. The President will address the nation when the visitors make themselves known. Until then, we stick to the protocol." He studied the approaching fleet markers. Besides, mass panic won't help anyone. President Lisa Bennett sat alone in the Oval Office, reading the classified brief one more time. Outside, Washington, D.C. continued its normal evening rhythm, citizens unaware that their world was about to change forever. There was a soft knock at the door, and Defense Secretary Ryan Jones entered, his face grim. Madam President, the Joint Chiefs are assembled in the Situation Room. She nodded and stood smoothing her suit jacket. How many people know so far? Less than 200 worldwide, all with cosmic-level clearance. Good. The longer we can keep this contained, the better our chances. She took a deep breath. What do we know about them? Jones fell into step beside her as they walked toward the Situation Room. Very little. The technology appears far beyond our conventional capabilities. Based on their approach vector and formation, our analysts believe this is a military force. And Project Guardian? Is it ready? As ready as it can be. Dr. Grant reports that all systems are functioning as expected. General Clark has activated all sites worldwide. The President stopped just outside the Situation Room door. Ryan, be honest with me. Do we have a chance? The Defense Secretary's face was solemn. If the project works as designed, yes. If not, he didn't finish the sentence. President Bennett squared her shoulders. Then we make sure it works. She pushed open the door to face the Joint Chiefs. Back in Colorado, Olivia Grant studied the alien fleet's approach pattern on her monitors. Sam brought her fresh coffee as they prepared for another long night. Do you think they know we can see them? Sam asked. Olivia shook her head. I doubt it. Our detection system isn't based on conventional technology. That's the whole point of Guardian. It uses principles they won't be looking for. And if they do find us? She gave him a small smile. Then we moved to phase 2 earlier than planned. Her secure phone rang, and she answered immediately. Grant, Director Alan Summers' voice came through. Olivia, we've got movement. They've dispatched smaller craft, looks like scouts. Already? They're still near Jupiter. These are faster, different technology. They'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 48 hours. Olivia felt her heart rate increase. Understood. We'll accelerate preparations. She hung up and turned to Sam. Get the team. We're activating the orbital grid now. Around the world, buried deep in mountains, hidden under oceans, and disguised as ordinary research facilities, humanity's secret guardians prepared for humanity's first contact with an alien invasion force. The visitors didn't know it yet, but Earth was not the defenseless planet they believed it to be. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for generations. On the Zolaxian command ship, Admiral Carrix received the report from his scout ships. No. Detection of advanced defensive systems, Admiral. Their military capabilities appear to be as our intelligence suggested. Primitive nuclear weapons, basic space stations, and rudimentary satellite networks. Carrix nodded, satisfied. Good. Deploy the first wave of scouts. I want detailed scans of their major military installations before we commit the main fleet. Yes, Admiral. As the officer left, Science Officer Vren approached again, her posture showing hesitation. Speak, Science Officer, Carrix ordered. Admiral, I've been studying the historical records more carefully. The warnings about Earth were not placed by lesser species. They bear markers of the Ancient Ones. Carrix stiffened. The Ancient Ones, a civilization that had vanished millions of years ago, leaving only fragments of their advanced technology, and cryptic warnings throughout the galaxy. What exactly do these warnings say? He asked, his voice lower. That's just it, Admiral. They've been deliberately erased. Not damaged or lost, erased. As if someone wanted to hide Earth's true nature. She paused. Perhaps we should proceed with more caution. The Admiral considered her words briefly, then shook his head. We've conquered 37 worlds in the name of the Empire. Earth will be the 38th. He turned back to the view screen. Send in the scouts. The first wave of Zolaxian ships broke away from the main fleet, accelerating toward the blue planet. The invasion of Earth had begun. 5 Zolaxian scout ships entered Earth orbit silently, their stealth technology making them invisible to conventional radar systems. Inside the lead vessel, Commander Drex studied the readings with growing confusion. This doesn't make sense, he muttered to his second-in-command. Their defense systems are primitive, yet there are energy signatures that our scanners cannot identify. Perhaps interference from their atmosphere, suggested his officer. Drex shook his scaled head. No, there's something else. These readings suggest technology that shouldn't exist on a world at this development stage. He tapped his clawed fingers on the control panel. Begin the first landing operation. Target their military installations as planned, but proceed with caution. The scout ships released smaller craft that descended toward Earth's surface. Their destination, a military base in the Nevada desert that Zolaxian scans had identified as a significant installation. In the underground command center, Major Diane Foster watched as the alien craft approached on her specialized monitor. General Clark, we have 5 visitors entering the atmosphere, she reported. Their trajectory suggests they're heading for Nellis Air Force Base. General Clark nodded. Right where we expected them. Is the base evacuated? Yes, sir. All personnel pulled out 48 hours ago. The dummy heat signatures are active, making it appear fully staffed. Good. Clark turned to another officer. Activate passive scanning, but keep Guardian systems in shadow mode. Let them think they're undetected. Around the world, other Guardian facilities tracked the approaching alien craft while remaining dormant. The plan was working perfectly. The visitors were taking the bait. Dr. Olivia Grant and Sam Howard worked frantically in the Colorado facility, analyzing the data streaming in from the alien ships. Their technology is impressive, Sam said, looking at the readings. But not as advanced as we feared in some areas. Olivia nodded. That matches what the archives predicted. They're not the ancient ones, just another conquering species that doesn't know what they're walking into. Her secure phone rang, and she answered immediately. The scout ships have deployed landing craft, Director Summers informed her. They're targeting military installations as expected. Any sign they've detected our systems? None so far. They seem to believe their stealth technology is working. Olivia smiled slightly. Good. Tell the President we're ready for Phase 2. In the White House Situation Room, President Bennett and her advisors watched live satellite feeds of the alien craft approaching Nellis Air Force Base. The room was eerily quiet, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Madam President, Defense Secretary Jones said softly, all Guardian sites report ready status. The visitors have taken the bait. She nodded. Very well. Begin Operation Memory. Jones picked up a secure phone and gave the order. Across the planet, hidden systems activated, sending a specific pattern of energy pulses into the upper atmosphere, invisible to conventional detection, but designed to be noticed by the alien technology. Now we wait, the President said. Let's see if they recognize the signal. On the Zolaxian command ship, Admiral Carrick's received the first reports from the scout teams. Admiral, landing successful at target site designation Earth 42, his communications officer reported. Commander Drex reports minimal security presence. They appear unaware of our arrival. Excellent, Carrick said. What about the other landing sites? All report successful infiltration. No resistance encountered. Science Officer Vren approached, her posture showing concern. Admiral, our sensors are detecting unusual energy patterns in Earth's upper atmosphere. They appear to be artificial, but they don't match any known human technology. Show me, Carrick's ordered. A display activated showing waves of energy pulsing in a distinct pattern. When did this begin? Approximately 6 minutes ago, shortly after our landing craft reached their destinations. Carrick studied the pattern. Is it a weapon? Unknown, Vren replied. But the pattern appears deliberate, almost like... Like what, Science Officer? Vren hesitated. Like a signal, Admiral, as if they are trying to communicate with someone, or something else. At Nellis Air Force Base, the Zolaxian scout team moved through empty buildings. Commander Drex felt increasingly uneasy. This facility is abandoned, he reported back to the command ship. Yet our scans showed life signs here just hours ago. Could they have detected our approach? Asked the command ship. Impossible. Our stealth technology is beyond their capabilities. Drex led his team toward a large hangar at the center of the base. According to their intelligence, it should house experimental aircraft, valuable technology to capture. The massive doors of the hangar stood partially open. Drex signaled his team to approach cautiously. They entered with weapons ready, only to find the space empty, or almost empty. In the center of the concrete floor sat a single metal cube, approximately 1 meter on each side. It had no visible controls or markings. "Scan it," Drex ordered. Team member approached with a scanning device. "Commander, it's emitting a low-level energy signature unlike anything in our database. Is it dangerous?" "Unknown, but—" The officer stopped mid-sentence as the cube began to glow with a soft blue light. "Step back," Drex ordered, but his curiosity kept him from retreating completely. The top of the cube slid open, revealing what appeared to be a simple data storage device, clearly designed to be compatible with Solaxian technology. "They knew we were coming," Drex whispered. "This was left for us to find." Back in the Nevada Command Center, General Clark watched through hidden cameras as the aliens discovered the cube. "Phase 1 complete," he reported to the president. "They found the first memory box." In the White House, President Bennett nodded. "And the other landing sites?" "All report similar success. The visitors have taken the bait at each location." "Good," she said. "Now we wait to see if they're curious enough to access the data." On the Zolaxian command ship, Admiral Carrick stared at the storage device Commander Drex had brought back from Earth. "You should not have removed this from the planet's surface without proper containment," he scolded. "Admiral, with respect, it was clearly left for us to find," Drex countered. "The humans knew we were coming." Carrick turned to Science Officer Vren. "Can we access the data safely?" She studied the device. "Yes, Admiral. It appears designed specifically for our systems." She looked up, her 4 eyes showing concern, which should be impossible. "The humans shouldn't have knowledge of our technology. Unless they've encountered our kind before," Carrick said quietly. The 3 Zolaxians exchanged troubled glances. Their intelligence had indicated that Earth had never made contact with alien civilizations. "Proceed," Carrick ordered, "but use an isolated system." Vren connected the device to a quarantined computer. The screen flickered, then displayed a message in perfect Zolaxian script. "To the conquerors of the stars, Earth is protected. It has always been protected. You are not the first to come here with conquest in mind, but you could be the last to leave in peace. The Ancient Ones left Earth as a sanctuary for a reason. Access the full data if you wish to understand why. You have 24 Earth hours to retreat before the Guardians awaken." Beneath the message was what appeared to be a star map, showing the location of something called the Sentinel Network. Admiral Carrick felt a chill run through his body. The Ancient Ones were not myth. And somehow, the humans knew about them. "Should we access the full data, Admiral?" Vren asked. Carrick stared at the message. His pride warred with a growing sense of unease. "No," he decided finally. "This is clearly a bluff to delay our invasion. The humans hope to frighten us away with tales of ancient protectors." He turned to Commander Drex. "Prepare the main invasion force. We attack at dawn." As his officers left to carry out his orders, Carrick looked again at the star map on the screen. For the first time in his long military career, he felt doubt. Dawn broke over the Nevada desert as thousands of Zolaxian dropships entered Earth's atmosphere. From his command ship in orbit, Admiral Carrick watched with pride as the invasion force he had assembled descended toward the blue planet. The main attack targeted 7 major cities across the globe, with secondary forces aimed at military installations. "Status report," he demanded. "All ships report successful atmospheric entry," his communications officer replied. "No resistance detected from Earth forces." Carrick nodded with satisfaction. "Begin the landing sequence. I want boots on the ground within the hour." Science Officer Vren stood nearby, her posture showing her concern. "Admiral, I must again advise. Caution. The warning message was nothing but a desperate human trick," Carrick interrupted. "Their militaries are scrambling in confusion. Their primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. By day's end, this world will be ours." Vren did not seem convinced, but she knew better than to challenge the Admiral again. On the main screen, the first wave of dropships broke through the cloud cover above New York City. The invasion of Earth had truly begun. In the Colorado facility, Dr. Olivia Grant watched the alien ships fill the sky above major cities. Beside her, Sam Howard monitored energy readings from the Zalaxian fleet. "They're committing their full force," Sam said, his voice tight with tension. "Just as we expected," Olivia nodded. "And the memory boxes?" "They accessed at least one, but apparently dismissed the warning." Sam looked up from his screen. "Director Summers reports that the president is ready to proceed with Phase 3. Good." Olivia picked up her phone and dialed a secure number. "This is Grant. The visitors have made their choice. Prepare to activate the markers. Around the world, at Guardian sites hidden beneath oceans, mountains, and seemingly ordinary military bases, teams of scientists and soldiers prepared to activate technology that had lain dormant for thousands of years." In the White House Situation Room, President Bennett watched the feeds from major cities as alien ships filled the skies. Citizens looked up in fear and wonder, many already fleeing, others frozen in shock. The room was quiet save for the occasional update from military commands worldwide. "Madam President," Defense Secretary Jones said, "all Guardian sites report ready status. The markers can be activated on your command." She took a deep breath. "What's the status of the evacuation zones?" 87% cleared. "We won't reach 100% in time." The president closed her eyes briefly. The decision weighed heavily on her. They had planned for this moment for generations, but the reality of it, the lives at stake, was still overwhelming. "We always knew this day would come," she said finally. "The visitors have made their choice." She opened her eyes and nodded firmly. "Activate the markers." Jones picked up a secure phone. "This is the Defense Secretary. Authorization code Alpha 7 Delta 9. Activate all markers immediately." In New York City, the first Zolaxian troops emerged from their landing craft in Central Park. Armed with energy weapons, they moved with practiced precision, expecting resistance. Instead, they found the park nearly empty, with only a few terrified humans fleeing the area. Commander Drex, leading the New York assault, felt uneasy. "This isn't right," he said to his second-in-command. "Where is their military, their police forces?" "Perhaps they surrendered," the officer suggested. "No. They're planning something." Drex activated his communicator. "All units, proceed with extreme caution. Something is wrong." As his troops advanced toward the edge of the park, the ground beneath them began to vibrate. At first it was barely noticeable, just a slight tremor. Then it grew stronger. In the center of the park, the earth split open, revealing a massive metal structure rising from below. It was smooth, featureless, and unlike any human architecture. As it rose higher, ancient symbols began to glow along its surface, symbols that Drex recognized with horror. "Fall back!" he shouted. "All units fall back immediately." But it was too late. The structure now towered 30 meters above the park, its surface pulsing with blue energy. Suddenly, it emitted a powerful beam of light straight up into the sky, piercing the clouds and continuing into space. Similar scenes played out in cities across the planet. In London, a structure rose from the Thames. In Beijing, it emerged from beneath the Forbidden City. In Cairo, from the sands near the pyramids. In Rio de Janeiro, from the harbor. In Moscow, from beneath Red Square. In Sydney, from the harbor near the Opera House. 7 markers, activated simultaneously for the first time in human history. On the Zolaxian command ship, alarms blared. The bridge erupted in chaos as officers shouted reports from various stations. "Admiral," shouted the tactical officer, "we're detecting enormous energy signatures from the planet's surface." "Show me," Carrick's commanded, his voice steady despite his growing concern. The main screen switched to show a global view of Earth. 7 points of intense light now connected the planet to space in brilliant blue beams that reached beyond the atmosphere. "What are they?" Carrick's demanded. Science Officer Vren's voice was barely a whisper. "They're sentinel markers, Admiral. Impossible. They've been extinct for millions of years." "Explain." "The ancient ones. The civilization that vanished eons ago. They built a network of defensive systems throughout the galaxy. The markers are activation points. Vren looked at Carix, her 4 eyes wide with fear. The humans aren't the prey. They're the guardians. Before Carix could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Outside, the space around Earth began to ripple, as if reality itself was being distorted. "Admiral!" the navigation officer shouted. "Something is happening to our fleet. Ships report losing power." On the tactical display, Carix watched as his invasion force, 500 of the Empire's finest warships, became immobilized in orbit, caught in some kind of energy field emanating from the markers below. "Retreat," he ordered, his voice hollow. "All ships full power to engines, retreat immediately." But it was too late. The Zalaxian fleet was trapped, held in place by technology so advanced it might as well have been magic. In the Nevada Command Center, General Clark watched as the markers reached full power. Ancient systems that had been sleeping for millennia now hummed with energy, responding to human operators as if designed for them. "All 7 markers online and functioning at 100% capacity," reported Major Foster. "The Sentinel network is responding." "And the alien fleet?" Clark asked. "Contained. They're trying to retreat, but the energy field has them locked. In place." Clark nodded with satisfaction. "Patch me through to the White House." On the screen, President Bennett appeared, her face solemn. "General, report." "Madam President, Phase 3 is complete. The markers are active, and the alien fleet is contained. We're ready to begin Phase 4. "And the casualties?" Clark grimaced slightly. "Minimal so far. The evacuation protocols worked better than expected." "Good." The President seemed to gather herself. "Proceed with Phase 4. Let's show our visitors exactly who and what they're dealing with." In the Colorado facility, Dr. Olivia Grant prepared to reveal the truth, not just to the aliens but to most of humanity as well. For generations, only a select few had known Earth's true purpose and history. That was about to change. "Ready?" she asked Sam. He nodded, his face pale but determined. "Ready?" Olivia pressed her palm against a scanner, then spoke clearly. "Authorization. Grant Omega 7. Access the Sentinel archive." The wall before them slid open, revealing a chamber that had not been accessed in decades. Inside was a console unlike any human technology, smooth, curved with symbols matching those on the markers. As Olivia placed her hand on it, the console lit up, responding to her touch. Information began to flow, not just to their facility, but to Guardian sites worldwide. The full history and purpose of Earth was finally being revealed. The truth that the Zalaxians had learned too late. Earth was not just another world to conquer. It was a fortress, hiding in plain sight. Admiral Carrick stared at the display screen in disbelief. His mighty invasion fleet hung motionless in Earth's orbit, caught in an energy field he could neither understand nor break. 500 warships, the pride of the Zalaxian Empire, rendered helpless by technology that shouldn't exist on such a primitive world. "How is this possible?" he demanded, slamming his fist on the command console. Science Officer Vren approached cautiously. "Admiral, I've analyzed the energy signature. It matches descriptions in our oldest records, technology of the Ancient Ones." "That's impossible," Carix hissed. "The Ancient Ones vanished millions of years ago." "Yes," Vren agreed, "but they left behind Guardians." She hesitated before continuing. The warning message was true. Earth is not an unclaimed world. It's a shield planet, a fortress world hiding in plain sight. Before Carix could respond, the ship's communication system activated without command. On the main screen appeared a human face, a female with short brown hair and determined eyes. "This is Dr. Olivia Grant of Earth. I am speaking to Admiral Carix of the Zalaxian invasion fleet. Your ships are now contained in a sentinel field. You cannot escape, and your weapons cannot penetrate it. I suggest you listen carefully to what—" "I'm about to tell you." Carix bristled but remained silent. He had no choice but to listen. In the Colorado facility, Olivia stood before the ancient console, broadcasting to both the alien fleet and to the people of Earth. Screens worldwide, televisions, computers, phones, all showed her face as she prepared to reveal the truth that had been hidden for generations. "People of Earth," she began, "what I'm about to tell you has been kept secret by a small group of guardians for thousands of years. Today that secrecy ends, because today we face a threat that was foretold millennia ago." She took a deep breath before continuing. "Earth is not just our home. It is a shield world, one of 7 planets scattered across the galaxy, created by a civilization known to us as the Ancient Ones. Long before humans evolved, the Ancient Ones faced a terrible enemy from beyond the galaxy, an enemy they barely defeated at tremendous cost. On screens around the world, images appeared showing star maps, ancient structures, and glimpses of beings that were clearly not human, tall, graceful creatures with features that seemed both familiar and alien. Before they vanished, the Ancient Ones created the Sentinel Network, a defensive system to protect against the return of this enemy. They selected 7 worlds to serve as shield planets, each hiding powerful technology beneath its surface. And on Earth, they found early humans, promising, adaptable, resilient. Olivia gestured, and the images changed to show ancient cave paintings, stone circles, and early human settlements, all showing strange visitors from the sky. Throughout human history, they guided us, the gods of our ancient mythologies, the mysterious visitors who taught us agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. All were emissaries from the Ancient Ones, preparing humanity for our true purpose, to become guardians of this shield world. In the White House Situation Room, President Bennett watched Olivia's broadcast with a mixture of relief and apprehension. The secret was out now. There was no going back. "Madam President," Defense Secretary Jones said quietly, "General Clark reports that Guardian sites worldwide are fully operational. The Sentinel field is stable." She nodded. "And civilian reaction?" "Mixed, as expected. Panic in some areas, but mostly people are just watching, trying to understand." "As are we all," the President murmured. "As are we all." In orbit, Admiral Carrix listened to the human woman's explanation with growing horror. If what she said was true, his empire had not just attempted to invade a primitive world. They had attacked one of the most important strategic positions in the galaxy. "You expect me to believe that humans, barely space-capable, are the chosen guardians of Ancient One technology?" he scoffed, though doubt crept into his voice. On the screen, Dr. Grant smiled slightly. "Whether you believe it doesn't matter, Admiral. The proof surrounds your fleet right now. The Ancient Ones chose us precisely because we were young and adaptable. Over thousands of years, they guided our development, hiding their technology, until we were ready for it." "And now you think you're ready?" Carrix challenged. "We didn't choose this moment. You did," Olivia responded. "By attacking Earth, you forced us to activate the Sentinel network prematurely. But yes, we're ready enough." The screen split to show another human face, the leader of their global government. "Admiral Carrix, I am President Lisa Bennett of the United Earth Council. Your invasion has activated defenses placed here long before human civilization began. We were chosen as custodians of this system, though we've only recently begun to understand its full purpose." "What do you want?" Carrix demanded, knowing he had little leverage. "We want you to understand what you've done," the President replied evenly, "and then we want you to leave, to return to your empire with a warning." In New York City, Commander Drex and his ground forces were surrounded by a glowing blue field, similar to the one trapping the fleet. The massive structure that had risen from Central Park now towered above the city, its surface covered in pulsing symbols. "Commander," one of his officers said, "look at the humans." Drex turned to see civilians approaching the edge of the containment field. Instead of fear, their faces showed curiosity and even wonder. Among them walked soldiers in Earth military uniforms, but they made no aggressive moves. A tall, human male, in a formal uniform, approached the field's edge. "Commander Drex, I'm Colonel Peter Wilkins of the United Earth Defense Force. We've been ordered to escort you and your troops back to your landing craft." "You're letting us go?" Drex asked, suspicious. "Those are our orders," the colonel replied. Unless you'd prefer to stay in the containment field? Drek studied the human's face, finding no mockery there, only professional calm. We will comply. In the Nevada Command Center, General Clark watched as alien ground forces worldwide were escorted back to their ships under heavy guard. The operation was proceeding smoothly with remarkably few casualties on either side. I still say we should keep some of them, Major Foster said quietly. Study their technology, learn their weaknesses. Clark shook his head. That's not our purpose. We're guardians, not conquerors. He gestured toward the monitor showing the marker in New York. Besides, we now have access to technology far beyond theirs. The Major nodded reluctantly. What happens when they return to their empire? They'll tell others about us. That's exactly what we want, Clark said. The word will spread across the galaxy. Earth is protected. Earth has always been protected. In the Colorado facility, Sam Howard approached Olivia as she finished her broadcast to the alien fleet. The Sentinel archive is fully accessible now, he said. Data is flowing to all Guardian sites. It's incredible, Olivia. The things we're learning about the Ancient Ones, about the galaxy, about the enemy they fought. Olivia nodded, her eyes tired but bright with excitement. And this is just the beginning, Sam. We've only scratched the surface of what the archive contains. Her phone rang, a direct call from the president. Dr. Grant, President Bennett's voice came through. Excellent work. The alien fleet is preparing to depart. Admiral Carrix has agreed to our terms. All of them? Yes. He'll deliver our message to his empire and to any other spacefaring civilizations they encounter. Earth is a shield world, under the protection of the Ancient One's technology, and any attack will meet the same response. Olivia felt relief wash over her. And Phase 5, Madam President? There was a brief pause before the President answered. The Guardian Council has voted. We proceed with Phase 5 immediately. It's time humanity learned the full truth, not just about our past, but about what's coming. Olivia closed her eyes briefly. Phase 5, preparation for the real threat. The Zolaxians weren't the enemy the Ancient Ones had feared. They were just the wake-up call. Understood, Madam President. We'll begin immediately. As she ended the call, Olivia looked at the Sentinel archive console. Its surface glowed with the knowledge of a civilization millions of years more advanced than humanity. Knowledge that had been waiting for this moment. The real work was just beginning. 2 weeks after the Zolaxian invasion attempt, Earth was a changed world. The 7 markers remained active in major cities, their massive structures now permanent features of the skyline. Around each one, research centers had been established, where scientists from all nations worked together to understand the Ancient One's technology. In New York, the Central Park marker had become a pilgrimage site. People gathered day and night to stare at the massive structure, its surface constantly shifting with glowing symbols. Military personnel maintained a respectful perimeter, but there was no fear, only wonder and a new sense of unified purpose. Similar scenes played out in London, Beijing, Cairo, Rio de Janeiro, Moscow, and Sydney. Humanity had learned its true purpose, and the response had been remarkable. Old conflicts seemed petty in the face of this new reality. The United Earth Council, once a largely symbolic organization, now held real power as nations pooled their resources to prepare for what was coming. Admiral Carrick stood before the Zolaxian Imperial Council, his posture rigid as he finished his report. The Grand Chamber was silent as the 7 council members absorbed his words. The failure of their invasion fleet, the pride of the Empire, was a devastating blow. You expect us to believe this tale? One counselor finally asked, her voice dripping with skepticism. That humans, primitive humans, are the chosen guardians of Ancient One technology? I have provided all sensor data from our ships, Carrix replied stiffly. The evidence is conclusive. Earth is a shield world. And this message they commanded you to deliver? Asked another counselor. Carrix straightened further. Earth is now fully awakened as a shield world. Any attack will be met with the full power of the Sentinel network, Further, they extend an invitation to the Zalaxian Empire and all spacefaring civilizations to join in preparation for the coming threat. What threat? Demanded the head counselor. They call it the darkness between. According to the Ancient One's records, it nearly destroyed all life in the galaxy millions of years ago, and they believe it is returning. The council chamber erupted in voices, some dismissive, others concerned. The head counselor raised a hand for silence. Admiral, do you believe these humans? Carrick's thought carefully before answering. The energy field that had immobilized his fleet, the structures that had risen from Earth's surface, the ancient technology that had activated at human command, all of it had been beyond anything in his experience. Yes, he said finally. I believe them. And I believe we should heed their warning. In the Colorado facility, Dr. Olivia Grant led President Bennett through corridors that descended deep beneath the mountain. They passed security checkpoints where guards stood at attention, eventually reaching a massive vault door bearing both modern security systems and ancient symbols that matched those on the markers. This was sealed until 2 weeks ago, Olivia explained as she placed her palm on a scanner. We knew it was here, but the archive wouldn't allow access until the markers were activated. The vault door slid open, revealing a vast chamber bathed in soft blue light. In the center stood what looked like a meeting table surrounded by 7 chairs. The entire setup was clearly not of human design. The materials were like nothing on Earth, with surfaces that seemed to shift between solid and liquid. The communion chamber, Olivia said reverently. This is where the guardians of all 7 shield worlds are meant to gather. President Bennett approached the table cautiously. And the other 6 worlds? Do we know where they are? Who guards them? The archive has provided star maps, Olivia replied. 4 of the worlds appear to have developed spacefaring civilizations. 2 others. She hesitated. 2 others may have failed. The president's expression darkened. Failed how? The Sentinel network cannot detect active markers on those worlds. Something may have happened to their guardians, or they were never ready when needed. They reached the table, where a single chair glowed more brightly than the others. Earth chair, Olivia explained. As leader of our world, you're invited to take your place, Madam President. Bennett stared at the chair with a mixture of awe and apprehension. And what happens when I sit there? The archive says you'll be able to communicate directly with the other active shield worlds. It's time for the Guardians to unite. Taking a deep breath, President Bennett sat in the chair. Immediately, the liquid-like material shifted around her, conforming perfectly to her body. The other 6 chairs began to glow, 3 brightly, like the Earth chair, and 3 dimly. Around the table, hazy figures began to appear. 3 distinct forms representing life forms unlike anything human. One appeared crystalline, with light refracting through its body. Another seemed almost gaseous, swirling in complex patterns. The third resembled a tall insectoid being with multiple limbs. No words were spoken, yet President Bennett somehow understood them perfectly, just as they understood her. Knowledge, emotions, and intentions flowed between them like water. The 4 active guardians, Earth, Crystilla, Vaporia, and Arthropos, had found each other at last, and none too soon. In orbit around Earth, the last Zalaxian ship prepared to depart. Commander Drek stood on the bridge looking down at the blue planet that had so thoroughly humbled the mighty Zolaxian Empire. Set course for home, he ordered. As the ship turned away from Earth, Drex noticed something on the long-range scanners, a subtle distortion at the edge of the solar system. It was barely detectable, might even be a sensor malfunction, but something about it troubled him deeply. He thought about reporting it, but decided against it. The humans likely already knew, with their Ancient One technology. This was their fight now. The Zalaxian ship engaged its faster-than-light drive and vanished among the stars, carrying its warning to the galaxy. Earth was protected. Earth had always been protected. Sam Howard joined Olivia outside the communion chamber after the president's first contact with the other shield worlds. How did it go? He asked. Better than we hoped. Olivia replied. The three active worlds have been preparing too. They awakened decades or centuries ago, sensed the same thing we've detected. The darkness? She nodded. It's still far away, but it's coming. The Ancient Ones knew it would return eventually. She showed him a tablet displaying a star map with a growing shadow at its edge. That's our enemy. The reason Earth was never meant to be conquered. We weren't being protected from the galaxy. We were being protected for the galaxy, Sam finished. Together they looked at the readings from the outer solar system, where the first subtle signs of the approaching darkness were becoming visible to their new sensors. The real battle, the one the Ancient Ones had prepared for, was still to come. But Earth was ready. Humanity had accepted its role as guardians, not just of their planet, but of all life in the galaxy. The markers stood active in 7 cities, connecting Earth to the Sentinel network that spanned the stars. The knowledge of the Ancient Ones flowed through human hands now, guiding them toward their destiny. The Zalaxians had learned too late why Earth was never attacked. Their mistake had awakened the shield world before the true enemy arrived. And perhaps in doing so they had given the galaxy its best chance for survival. As President Bennett emerged from the communion chamber, her face showed both the weight of her new responsibility and the strength to bear it. Begin Phase 6, she ordered. It's time to build the shield. Across Earth, humanity looked to the stars with new purpose. The age of division was over. The age of guardianship had begun. And somewhere in the darkness between galaxies, something ancient and terrible sensed the awakening of its old enemy. It had destroyed the Ancient Ones millions of years ago. Now it would face their chosen successors, humanity, and the other guardian races of the shield worlds. The final battle for the galaxy was coming.